the ecology of Undertale's Underground. With its creative array of monsters, I just figured I'd do an analysis of the ecosystem and try to make sense of it all. Evidently, these are fictional creatures who turn to dust after they die, but I'll try to treat this as straightforward as possible, presuming a lot of these guys arrived where they are through natural evolution, with some wiggle room for other monster intervention. So for a start, let's look at the biomes. There are 4 distinct areas with unique flavors of their own: Ruin, Snowden, Waterfall, and Hotland. There actually seems to be more thought into the lands than what seems to be on the surface, because we have one area with extreme heat with Hotland, and another with extreme cold with Snowden. However, they are separated by a wetland, so we can assume when close to heat, the snow melted to water, leading to a watery land. It's a nice sort of transition. This does call into mind Ruins in relation to all of this. I have to assume it's a notably warmer biome than Snowden, since it's able to sustain amphibians, bugs, and sentient vegetables. It's probably structurally designed to retain more heat, and with Toriel around, she can help sustain the ecosystem. I also assume while it's a relatively warmer biome, it's also one that sustains moisture, since said animals, amphibians, bugs, and sentient vegetables all rely on moisture. So it's possible for snow to melt into this environment, creating moisture for the inhabitants to prosper. Most of the beings in this biome are small, further reflected by the close quarters of this area, with Toriel being a notable exception, being an exiled queen who set up shop. I assume goat people used to live here before it became literal ruins, and they moved to the technological advancement of Hotland. Moving on to Snowden, we have a whole other set of creatures inhabiting, and questions to answer. To survive in the cold, it helps to be built thick to weather the cold weather, which is where someone like Jerry comes in. Built so thick they are literally hard to kill, and would act confused about Wi-Fi for some reason. Snowdrake seems to be heavily built too, and also quite talkative, which I assume would be helpful for cold isolation. There are also a fair bit of dog people, and it's known that dogs like wolves or Great Pyrenees love to survive in the cold. I really don't know how skeleton people fit into this biome, or how skeleton people even remotely work at all. They aren't even supposed to be around here anyway, so shouldn't read into too much. We'll say that it's interesting that Sans is supporting a thick coat, while Papyrus has much looser clothing. Accounting Sans is a much more self-aware character, I assume he got more aware of the cold and reflexively wore his coat, while Papyrus could care less. Sans also never changes out of his coat regardless of the biome he's in. Maybe he doesn't adjust enough to the change in temperature, or maybe it's just his style. Snowden people are generally pretty nice. Nice festive town, stuff is reasonably priced, all part of a cold community. Going on to Waterfall, we have a few people adapted to an aquatic environment, such as Aaron and that music thing. It also supports mold smalls, which are found in the ruins. I assume its temperature is pretty similar to ruins, just with a lot more water. This land also supports Temmies, who are similar to pandas and koalas with their very selective diet of construction paper, which is very little nutritional value. There's over a lot of concern with the little Temmies. I've been able to scam Tems by buying their discount Tem flakes and selling them back to them at full price, also where their ears are. Undying is a notable inhabitant as a fishwoman who is really skilled and has the ability to reincarnate herself through pure will. When she stumbled into Hotland, she passed out due to the intensity of the heat, showing in fact the power of different biomes. This environmental change is so significant that if you forget to give her water, because you mistaken the water cooler for a Deltarune boss, her health is so critical you are locked out of the true paths this route. I don't know if there's any other fish people, but I assume they'll like this environment. Going on to Hotland, we are surrounded by intense lava and persistent industrialization. Several beings in this biome are designed for the hot weather, some of them even emitting fire abilities, like this happy volcano fella. As far as adaptations related to real life, no one's been able to adapt to lava to my knowledge, but I assume there's some magical component. There's also a Sudere plane, which I have no idea what stages in evolution lead to this plane evolving. I'd assume this is a monster-made invention, but I'm inclined to believe in this world, some animals could honestly evolve into planes. Alphys is an interesting case, as she's a reptile, which are naturally designed to withstand warm temperatures. She is also shown to be very smart, helping with Asgore's science stuff. In fiction, people often focus on the divide between magic and science, but I like in this world it's like, nah, they just go hand in hand here to deal with it. We don't know much about other lizard people, but I would assume they would be smart. This is also by far the most capitalistic economy with outrageously high prices, and expensive rooms with no refunds. Like, at that point, it's less of a hotland ecology and more of a hotland capitalism. Anyway, that's my take on Undertale's underground ecology. What are some of your takes? Aspects zone in on. Feel free to let me know, and cheers.